Okay, so I've been waiting to do this video for a couple months because of this whole notion, this whole stupid thing about Rotten Tomatoes versus DC movies and all this shit. Started with Batman v Superman, and most recently with Suicide Squad. It's been this huge thing, and it just boggles my mind how the depths of stupidity of people, of how the depths of stupidity of fanboys is. It is without depth. It is without. It's beyond comprehension. And obviously there may be just like ignorance in there somewhere, like blissful ignorance, but for the most part, it just seems like people just are just dumb. It's so irritating because I'm a DC fan. I love DC. Green Arrow's my favorite superhero. Superman's my third favorite superhero behind Daredevil. Man of Steel is a goddamn fucking masterpiece to me. I love Superman Returns. Everybody hates Superman Returns. I love Superman Returns. I love the Superman movies except for 3 and 4 because 3 and 4 are just fucking trash. But I love Suicide Squad. I had so much fun with that movie. It's such a great movie. It's got problems, but it's I think it's great. Majority of people, not as much, and that's fine. I don't care. That's their opinion. They're entitled to that opinion. But to me, great movie. To them, not so great movie. That just doesn't mean that they hate DC comic movies. For Christ's sake, Dark Knight's at like 92, 93, probably more than that. Goddamn, even Superman Returns, the movie I like that most comic book community members don't like. It's got like a 76. Like that's a fresh rating. Just the Dark Knight trilogy in general. The Batman, the Batman Tim Burton movies. Both of them are both, I think, in like the 80s. The Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Very positively reviewed, the first two at least. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't hate DC Comics because guess what? They don't review movies. Rotten Tomatoes is not a review site. I misspoke, sorry. But Rotten Tomatoes is not a review site. Rotten Tomatoes aggregates reviews together. They take, people give, a certain movie a fresh or a certain movie a rotten rating, and then they average those together and they get the score you see. So with, Batman v Superman, I think Batman v Superman is like a 23 or something. I'm not sure. But if it is a 23, just for argument's sake, just 23% of people like the movie. That's all that thing is. It's not a 1 out of 100 score where like they're saying, well, out of 100 it's a 20. It's rated a 23. It's not what it is. And also you get really when you look at these aggregated scores. It's not really a score, but this aggregated number percentage. You have to look at the actual reviews too. Because as far as I know, and I didn't read a bunch of Batman v Superman reviews, but I don't think a lot of them were very scathing. But they were still in the rotten territory. That's why it got so many rotten ratings. Also, I will admit Rotten Tomatoes sometimes has to work on things, because I've heard that people have given a generally positive review, but it still wound up being rotten. But that aside, you can argue about some of the things that Rotten Tomatoes does as far as how they rate things and how they allow the ratings to work. That being said, the site still doesn't review things. It's just an aggregator. They just take them and put them together and they find a percentage. That's all it is. And the concept that people can believe that the reviews are paid for by Marvel or are paid for by, a third company, or that they hate DC or something, is absolutely, positively stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. For a couple of reasons. Number one, nobody wants comic book movies to fail. Even Marvel. Marvel especially does not want comic book films to fail. Because guess what? Marvel movies are also comic book movies. And if you see a bad comic book movie or a couple of bad comic book movies, people are going to be like, you know what? I saw a couple of bad comic book movies. I'm not going to go check out that other comic book movie. And Marvel's going to lose money too. So I bet you anything, Kevin Feige was sitting there in his at his desk getting fanned by people with with comic books or something, watching the tomato meter, watching the box office for Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, saying, "Please God, break a fucking billion, please," because then they'll be like, "Oh, I really enjoyed watching Suicide Squad. I'm gonna go see Doctor Strange in November." They need to work together, because the more good comic book movies you get, the more people are going to want to go see another one. That's how these things keep going. That's how these franchises, how these genres continue, is because people go and see them because they actually enjoyed the movies. Guess what? I love Suicide Squad. There are people who didn't. The majority of people don't like it. That's why I got a 23%, and it looks like it's going to have a 60 to 70% drop-off for its box office. Because most of the people who were going to go see the film saw it opening night, or opening weekend. And maybe they generally didn't like it, so they're not going to see it again. And I think maybe Doctor Strange might take a hit for this. I'm excited for it. I'm seeing it opening night, for Christ's sake. But it's about trends. And the more comic book movies do better, the more people are going to want to go see more. Also, you know who owns stock and partially owns Rotten Tomatoes? Fucking Warner Brothers. If Rotten Tomatoes was so biased against DC, then Warner Brothers would be biased against themselves. Do you understand how dumb that is? That is absolutely ridiculous. I just... Look, would I like it if Man of Steel had 100% Rotten Tomatoes? Would that make me feel good? Sure. I don't need validation for my opinion, but that'd be kind of cool. I mean, that would mean people liked it. I'd be happy if people liked Man of Steel, because that means that I don't have to fight everybody. But I would love it if that was true. But guess what? People didn't like Man of Steel. That's fine. Great. 45% of people didn't like Man of Steel. That's not my problem. I'm glad they have their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to it. It's all subjective. I don't agree with them, and I will argue with them forever about it. But it's their opinion. That's the point. This all boils down to opinions. And everybody who's making up these stupid conspiracies about people being biased against DC or being paid off by Marvel, these people don't understand the concept of subjective film. They don't understand that film is art, and you can't tell people they're wrong. And also, that just because their opinion isn't the same as yours, just because not everybody gives a goddamn 10 out of 10 to every fucking movie that comes out, does not mean that you have to throw shade at everybody, or you have to make up petitions that get signed by 15,000 people to get Rotten Tomatoes shut down for something that they actually don't do, because people are fucking ignorant. Absolutely ignorant. I mean, I'm a DC fan. You make me look bad, and the rest of us who are actual understanding people who get opinions, you make us look like we're a bunch of absolutely ignorant, mouth-breathing losers who live in our mother's basements. You make us look like the worst people on the goddamn planet. So please, for the love of Christ, shut your fucking mouths. Unless you want to actually become not ignorant, shut the fuck up. Because opinions are great. You can have your opinion, that's fine. But if you're going to plug your ears and la 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 away actual facts, then you have no right to talk to any of us. Because your opinion's invalid because it's not actually informed. So fuck off. Sorry if that was mean. Sorry if that was rude. But I don't very much like the way that you people act. So I'm gonna go now because otherwise I could sit here all day and rant about this, but I don't want to do it. So um, have a good night or morning or day or whatever time it is when you guys see this movie. Like, comment, favorite, subscribe. If you have an opinion upon this about this topic, drop it in the comments. And stay nerdy, guys, and stop with this bullshit.